Hi everybody, Brady Joker here, and welcome back to another movie review. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Great Gatsby, released in 2013. And no, I have not seen the 1979, I don't know. But today I kind of want to do a little bit of a comparison video. The reason for that is because I also read the book, The Great Gatsby, written in 1925? I think it was that, but yeah, written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Reading this book in my English class has been one of the best experiences of reading a book. It is now one of my favorite books of all time. I think it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's devastating, it's surreal, it's an amazing book. If you haven't read it, I'm not a reader. I'm reading The Shining right now though. I actually started it today. Whew, it's like 600 pages, but yeah. Great Gatsby, definitely read it because it's an amazing book, phenomenal. And we just watched the movie in class the other day, and well, I'm a bit disappointed. Look, I don't think this movie is bad. It's not a bad film by any means, but it's not a great film either, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I'm going to kind of talk about elements I did really enjoy about it, and that, for the first thing I liked about it were some of the more prominent casting and just performances in this movie. First and foremost, obviously Leonardo DiCaprio gives a great performance as Gatsby himself. It really isn't like a surprise to say that Leonardo does good in a movie. I think it's kind of a given at this point that he does good in movies. I also really enjoyed Tobey Maguire as Nick in this movie. I don't know why, I just felt like his role was really well done. Carey Mulligan as Daisy, also just really good role, great performance. I think Joel Edgerton also just gives a great performance as the very mean and evil man Tom Buchanan. Really like I honestly like. Yeah, I know he's supposed to be the bad guy of the book, but I really enjoy Tom's character in the book, to be honest. Even though I know he's a piece of garbage, I think that's why I think he's really well done. You're not supposed to like Tom, and you really hate him. But I think his character has so many complexities, so many layers. I really like Tom's character, to be honest. He's nowhere near my favorite character, but I do like Tom. I feel like he's a bit unappreciated. And then the movie kind of missed with Jordan Baker. Now, Elizabeth Debicki, I don't know how to pronounce that. Debicki, I don't know. She does good for what she's given, but they kind of sideline Jordan very hard in this book. In fact, I think she's in like maybe 4 scenes, and in all of the scenes except the one where she goes to dinner with Nick, she's barely in the movie, to be honest. She's just not a very prominent role, and in my opinion, I really like Jordan's character in the book, and it's just weird how she's barely in the movie. That was the first letdown that I really didn't like. On to the other letdowns that really took me out of this movie. First and foremost, the style. Look, Baz Luhrmann, I've seen Elvis, which he also directed, and he's the director of this movie, but his style just isn't for me, I guess. He always has these flashy cuts, this very luxurious and glamorous style. It just makes this time period feel so modern and also so fake. I don't know why the effects in this movie just didn't work for me. Just every single set just looked fake. It just looked green screened, in my opinion. It just didn't work for me at some points. However, when the effects did look good, like all of Gatsby's parties, even though there are problems with them, which I'll talk about in a minute, they do feel straight out of the Roaring 20s, which I think the Roaring 20s is a really interesting time period, and I really enjoyed learning about it in my class. But the movie does a good job kind of taking the Roaring 20s and putting it in the film, even if it doesn't always look great visually. I still think it encapsulates what the Roaring 20s was, and I liked that. Another thing I think the movie did terribly, which I think, I hope at least, a lot of people have this issue with this movie. In fact, when we watched it in my class, everybody was getting fed up with this. The music choices. So if you guys are unfamiliar with The Great Gatsby, I know I haven't really delved in, or I haven't really delved into what this movie is about. It's basically just about this fictional story of Nick. He meets this dude Gatsby who is in love with Daisy, and yet Daisy's married to Tom. And it's kind of just a very big, complex story about all these characters and the way they interact and stuff. But it takes place in the 20s. And in the movie, they play Jay-Z songs, Rihanna songs, and other artists who I just can't remember. Let me look it up. Beyonce, will.i.am, Lana Del Rey, that's a fun, and many others. Now, let me ask you something. Were these artists around in the 20s? No, I don't think so. So when these very modern pop and rap songs play over this, what's supposed to be 1920s big extravagant party, it just leaves me angry. I wanted to hear some nice 20s music, some orchestra, some jazz, just something nice. Just a break from the modern side of music. I just wanted to take a step back and actually get engrossed in the time period. And every single time they played a newer song, it just took me so out of the movie. Alright, sorry guys, we're going to be in pretty crappy quality the rest of the video. My good camera died and I don't have a battery to replace it at the moment. I will tomorrow, but I need to get this video out by tomorrow. So yeah, anyways, what was I talking about? The music. Yeah, the music just took me out completely. Terrible choices, but there was one scene where they started playing this nice little, it sounded old style, I don't know exactly what genre it was, I can't remember, but it sounded like it belonged in the movie. And then, bang, all of a sudden Rihanna starts singing over it in one of her songs. And I'm just like, why? You were this close to perfection, you were this close to perfection, movie, you almost had it. Now again, this movie did a lot of things that I did like. I think they handled the symbols really well in this movie. In particular, the eyes of T.J. Eckleburg. I honestly think this is the only thing that the movie did better than the book. I think they did the eyes of Eckleburg a lot better. They really stood out more. It really made you think like, oh man, yeah, that's an important symbol right there. When in the book, it didn't really connect with some people. But the eyes in this one felt a lot more prominent, and I liked them a lot more, as well as the green light. The green light was a great symbol in the movie and the book, and I think they did it really well in the movie. Now, I'm going to get into spoilers. Okay, so spoilers ahead for anybody watching this who has not seen the movie or read the book, because I'm going to talk about things that happen in the book that I think should have been in the movie that weren't. Starting with the ending. My biggest gripe with the adaptation part of it is there are two big scenes from the end of the book that should have been in the movie but just weren't. One, the funeral. Why did no one show up to Gatsby's funeral? And again, this is for people who have watched both the movie and read the book. But in the book, Gatsby's dad shows up to his funeral along with the Owl Eyes character, and none of that happens in the movie. And when the dad comes, it is one of the most heartbreaking and just authentic scenes in the whole book, one of my favorites in the book, and it just gets completely taken out, which makes no sense. Now the Owl Eyes character, I can see a little bit more why they took that out. It kind of felt a little unnecessary. My issue is, why would you take the time to put Owl Eyes in an earlier scene? Owl Eyes is in 2 scenes in the book, and for some reason they included one of those scenes and then not the second one. So his inclusion in the first one just feels super out of place, because he kind of comes full circle in the end, and it's just like, okay, that's why he's in it, but he's not in the second part, and I don't know why. And the other scene is Jordan and Nick's final confrontation. Now this one could have been phenomenal if they actually included Jordan as a character in the movie, but because she isn't really a character in the movie, this kind of would have felt out of place, I think. But if they had done a better job building the relationship up with Jordan and Nick like they did in the book, I think it would have been a lot better, because the last scene with Jordan and Nick in the book is phenomenal. They both write each other off, they're both mad, and it's a great farewell for the both of them. and I loved that scene in the book, and it just wasn't in the movie. I just think the ending was a bit rushed, and that's about all I can say about that. The apartment scene is my favorite scene in both the book and the movie. I think the movie just really took that and put it straight into, like, it took the image out of my mind of them losing all their minds in the apartment and just putting it on screen. In fact, I think that scene, along with Myrtle's death, was done perfectly. I think the way that Myrtle's death was shot was great. I really enjoyed that. Not enjoyed it, but I liked the way it was done. But yeah, I mean, some people might not love the way that Gatsby explodes in the apartment, but I actually really liked it. Thought it was good. Another thing I didn't really like is in the book, when Daisy leaves the day after Myrtle gets shot, that is the last you hear from Daisy. You do not hear from her again. You see Tom again, you see Jordan again, but you don't see Daisy again. And I think that's a very important detail that was intentional in the book. That after, she left with Tom, never tried to make a connection with Gatsby again. Done. But in the movie, like as Gatsby's getting killed by Wilson, you see Daisy about to call him. I think, unless I'm just like stupid or something and I just misread the scene, but I'm pretty sure you see Daisy about to call Gatsby, which I just think kind of takes away from what F. Scott Fitzgerald kind of wanted with this ending. And I don't know, I didn't love that. It was such a small detail that I just like, when I watched it, I was like, I don't like that. And at this point, it might just be me nitpicking, but it really just boils down to me loving the book so much that there was no way that the movie could have reached my expectations, and that's okay. But I don't think the movie is bad. It nailed some stuff. The apartment scene, I think they nailed the whole reuniting scene with Daisy and Gatsby. I thought they did that perfectly. Apart from the music choices, the party scene, the first party scene was great. The chapter 2, which is when Myrtle is first introduced, I think they did that really well. It was a fine movie that had a lot of flaws with it. I could pick it apart for days, but all in all, I really enjoyed reading this book, and I did enjoy watching it just because I loved the book, but it wasn't my favorite. So yeah, I guess I'll do both. For the book, I'm feeling a 10 on this one, and for the movie, I'm feeling a decent 5 on it. Transition! Have you guys seen or read The Great Gatsby? If you have, what did you think about it? Tell me in the comments down below, did you love it, did you hate it? And if you guys want to, make sure you like, subscribe if you want. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, or whenever you're watching this. Alright, see you guys.